Hello, my people, my fellow Real Red Talk members and people in the chat. How are we all doing on this fine Thursday night? Because this is your live breaking news show. We have a fantastic show lined up for you lot today, full of updates and surprises and transfers and here and left, right, centre, up, down, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. We've got loads of stuff to talk about. We've got Sam and Shreyas alongside me. Shreyas rocking the third kit, as you could probably see. The one question I have, Shreyas, is why the third kit? Why not the home or the? Is that your favourite one out of the three? Four.
Yep. Yeah, because it looks too much like a cricket kit. This is the first
Okay.
time I've seen United being too close to being a cricket kit, so I had to get the third one.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah.
To be fair, can we get a bit of a viewing of it? Because you can only really see the collar there. Can we get a bit of a butcher's at it? There it is. There it is, people. The third shirt, exclusive to Shreyas only. He's the only man in India to wear it currently at the moment. Sam, you rocking the regular hoodie today, just casual wear, yeah?
Yeah, I don't. What have I got underneath? I've just
Hopefully a t-shirt.
got Vans, my favorite brand.
Okay.
Same shield
Is that-
shit.
Is that top brand? Like, is that out
This
of
is
all
Vans,
brands?
Yeah. No, this is Vans as well. So I wear like 3 brands, and if they want to sponsor me, please feel free. Dickies,
Yeah.
Carhartt, and Vans. That's normally the 3 brands I wear. So if any of them want to sponsor me, please do get in touch. The email's in the bio.
Yeah. Well, clearly I'm the runt of the litter when it comes to branding and stuff because I've got a ripped Super Dry t-shirt and Super Dry don't even make clothes anymore apparently. Well, according to news coming in from the past 2 minutes that I've just realised. So anyway, we're not going to be talking about brands and clothing. We are going to be talking about the midfield being the next priority. We've got Rabiot, who's currently on free at the moment. A new bid set to go in for Manuel Ugarte. We're going to discuss what type of player he is as well. Wan-Bissaka to West Ham edges closer, and also West Ham are supposed to be interested in Scott Mctominay as well. So it's all going off at the moment. It's always busy with United. We know the crack. We know the situation, lads. So we're going to kick it off with Adrian Rabiot. Why does that not sound right? It's Adrian Rabiot, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's Adrian. Yeah, Adrian Rabiot.
I don't know why it didn't sound right in my head then when I said it. Adrian Rabiot's dream is Manchester United, apparently, and according to Sky Sports News, United are very interested again. We know Erik ten Hag likes the player. Like I said, we know he's on a free. He's ready to go. He's probably ready to jump into a preseason right now as we speak. Should we do this deal? And if the answer is yes to that question, why should we do this deal? Sam, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, do it, man. I've been talking about the midfield overhaul and the midfield rebuild needed at United because we saw our midfield got continuously just walked through last season, like it wasn't even there. So I think we need some reinforcements. And I was saying we could theoretically get 3 midfield players in and totally rebuild the midfield in depth and starters for under 13 million. You get Manuel Ugarte on loan with an obligation to buy. You can get Adrian Rabiot on a free and hopefully negotiate his wages to an acceptable extent. Because if he's asking for 300 plus K, then just don't bother with that because he's not worth that amount of money. And then Sofiane Amrabat for 13 million. You've overhauled your complete midfield there for under 13 million. I think it's an upgrade on Scott Mctominay, on Eriksen and Casemiro. I know we're going to get on to Casemiro later, why he may not be going at this point, but Scott McTominay's got interest. You could maybe get 30, 35 million from him. That half of that then could go towards Sofiane Amrabat, and you get his wages off the books. You've then retained some money. He's an academy prospect as well, so it's all profit. Hopefully sell Eriksen. It's probably going to be a minimal fee, but just get him off the books, I think, would be ideal. And then that midfield that consists of Bruno, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte, Sofiane Amrabat, Adrian Rabiot, and then maybe you chuck Toby Collier in as well. I think that's a pretty decent midfield. Obviously, it's not the ideal midfield. It's not the Joao Neves. It's not the people that the stunning all-star midfielders that you want. But I think it's pretty good for the season. And the way our financials are, I think you could do a lot worse than sort of rebuilding that way.
I completely forgot that we had Christian Eriksen.
Yep.
Just totally skipped my mind that we've still got him as a player. Again, I don't know. You're not going to get much money for him anyway, even if you did sell him, really. And I don't know how long's left on his contract, whether it's like just an extra year.
Was it a 3-year? Was it a 3-year deal?
I think so.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's going into his third season now, so it's one of those, like, do you just keep him kind of pottering about, or like, it's
He's not going to
very
play.
bizarre situation.
He's not going to play.
No, a bit parts come in last 10 minutes, bit of creativity. I'd expect he's definitely not going to be starting games. Well, certainly hope not. But just back to Rabiot, Shreyas. What did you make of his performances in the Euros, and just as a player in general? Is he someone you could see at United?
Yeah, I think definitely he's someone you could see at United. I think he still had a very he had an all right Euros. I think him alongside Kante, having Griezmann playing up ahead of them in the 10, it did used to I would say early on I think it used to be Pogba, Kante and Griezmann in that midfield trio. This season they because Pogba isn't really available now because of certain reasons they've switched to Rabiot. I think he's very versatile when it comes to his, when you look at his skill set in that midfield, because he's someone who can hold the ball really well. He's someone who can progress with the ball quite well. I just think that, in the Euros, the tempo wasn't there with France throughout the course of this tournament. They never really got going, but when it came to that partnership of Kante and Rabiot, it worked quite well. It was quite balanced, and one thing was both of them when it comes to ball recoveries, both of them have got very very good engines which can run for an entire 90 minutes. The only thing that concerns me with Rabiot is his wages, because that was the only thing that actually stopped us from signing him in Ten Hag's first season. If he is actually thinking of earning about 250 or 300 grand a week, or get a contract along along those areas, I don't think that will happen. If he is willing to take 150, 170, or at least something around that ballpark, I think it is still a deal that we can progress with. He can be very very vital for us as well, because not only can he be a starting 11 option, he can be a very decent bench option as well. And like we mentioned a lot of times before, that midfield needs a lot of bench options, because the way Ten Hag plays, I would say even if you don't have as many options in the attack, or even as many options in that centre back department, you definitely need to have options in the midfield, because he needs people who have the agility and the mobility to be, covering every single area of the grass and be absolutely spot on with their positioning in that midfield for the entire 90 minutes. So you need depth in that area, which you can't expect from McTominay. You can't expect from Ericsson at this age now. So you need reinforcements, and I think Rabiot does actually, fill in for a lot of those positions, because he can be a makeshift six as well, just to actually see the game out. And in certain games, perhaps alongside Menu, can actually bring that sort of stability and control into the midfield as well, which we've been crying out loud for the entire, for the entirety of last season.
At this point, for me, I think it depends on what Rabiot personally wants. Because when you get to the age of 29, you want a big contract, don't you? You want 5 years with an extra one, let's say, on a decent wage. I don't know how much he's on at Juventus, but I imagine it's relatively good. So what does he want? Does he want to come because he's always wanted to play in the Premier League and is excited by United's project? Or does he want to come because he's like 5 years settled, don't necessarily have to pull up trees. That could be a bit of a bit part. That's what I want to know, the mentality of the player. I'm sure if Erik ten Hag's very interested in him, he's done his due diligence in terms of what kind of character he is. We've heard things before, more in the earlier days. I would probably suggest at PSG that he threw his toys at the pram a couple of times. You've also got his mother, who we've not even discussed, in Veronica, who's also likes to do a bit of batting for him, doesn't he? So I don't know. I don't know how that situation is. Maybe that's one, again, towards the end of August. One of those ones, it's just like, oh yeah, we decided to sign him on loan for an obligation, or we signed him on a 3-year deal, something on the lines of that. I don't think many of us in the chat now would be too down with that, would we? We'd probably be like relatively happy if we did sign him on a free.
I think explore other options. Like we've got 6 weeks left of the window.
Yeah.
I think as long as we get Ugarte in, I think if we get him in and get that sorted, I'd feel a lot more comfortable than saying to Rabiot, yeah, we're interested. Like, this is the ways you think, and then see what he thinks of it. And this is the project. You're probably not going to be a week in, week out starter, but you will get game time. What do you think of the project? And then explore options, like see if there's a midfielder out there, a young midfielder who's hungry, who wants to get into the team and would cost a transfer fee, but maybe the wages would be a little bit less and they'd be less demanding to start. Maybe there's options around there. Like there's loads of players I like, but they're all fucking expensive. So I think,
I mean, the majority of DMs are, to be fair, or just midfielders seem to be very, very pricey at the minute.
Even like there's guys I love, like obviously Hjumland. I love that guy. I think he's fantastic. But for a guy who's played a couple of seasons at Sporting
Yeah.
Lisbon and they're
Yeah.
quoting 70 million, like,
It's
come on, lad.
ridiculous.
Like, you're not, this is not a Lenny Yoro generational talent we're talking about. This is
Yeah.
just a solid, good DM who's got an upside and could
Yeah.
potentially get better. And you want 70 million for him? Like, it
Even
seems a bit
Joao
bad, that.
Neves. Joao Neves, they want 120 million euros for PSG going back over. Antonio Silva, they want like 80 million, and he didn't
Yeah.
exactly have a great tournament when he featured for Portugal. So I think everyone's looking at these astronomical prices. I think we touched on this before, but players like Coutinho and fucking Dembele, all them deals, Antony, Grealish, that set the benchmark now. You've seen it with Branthwaite. We're saying you paid 80 million for Maguire, so we want 80 million for Branthwaite.
Name a guy that went for 3 figures or like a massive fee that worked.
Yeah, there's
Doesn't
a
happen,
handful,
does it?
if
It
that.
doesn't
There's-
happen,
there's-
does
Hardly.
it? Like, it never
Yeah.
happens. Like, Neymar, you could say maybe he had some sort of
He did-
success
no,
at
but
PSG, but he
yeah,
wasn't. He wasn't massive. Well, it wasn't the
No,
impact that they wanted
didn't
him
live
to
up
have.
to. He went there to quote unquote win a Ballon d'Or and
Yeah.
win a
Yeah.
Champions League,
Yeah.
and never did it.
Never
So
even
it's-
played a full season fit for them.
Yeah.
No.
So it's just I just think the days of, I think especially under Ineos, the days of paying that amount of money for a player are
Yeah.
done. Like, I just don't think we're going to do it anymore. And I think it's the same with wages. I think if players are going to be demanding 250, 300k a week, I think Ineos is going to tell them to go, nah, we're all right, mate, and we'll walk away.
Yeah.
Like, Delict's on the back burner at the minute because we're not willing to pay, what is it, 42, I think Bayern want? We're not willing to pay that. So if we're not willing to like bend to that, which is 42, which in this market is a pretty good price, then God knows, like 100 million that you can get stuffed.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to hear what else thinks in the chat. Make sure you do get your comments in. I can see loads of them. I'll dive into them shortly. Quick question: has anyone had a cinnamon like swirl before?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm referencing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what we've done, is to use an analogy, we've started off on the crust, and do you know when you get to the center, it's like the really tasty bit.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to go into now, okay, with Manuel Ugarte. So after finalising the signing of Lenny Yoro today, Man United are set to continue pushing for Manuel Ugarte. Ugarte is still high on United's list, and the player is keen to join the club and their new project. No agreements yet, but talks are ongoing. And then we had Graham Bailey tweet as well, saying United are pushing ahead with their interest in Manuel Ugarte. Ideally, United want him in for their tour of America. And I'll go to you first on this, Shreyas. Again, the pace of deals seems to be going really quick at the moment, don't they? It's like Ineos aren't messing about.
I think they also understand how important it is for players to actually be present during preseason tours, especially the new players that you're actually signing in. Because over the course of the last few seasons, we've always seen it that the main players and I would say players who we actually sign to be in the starting 11, we only get them in once preseason is finished. Then when the season starts and we are 2 to 3 games in, that's when these new players come in, and then it takes them a good chunk of 10 to 15 games just to integrate with the squad. And then if it works out for them well enough, if it doesn't, then they struggle for an entire season. I think getting Ugarte in, getting Xerxes in, getting Euro in before the most important run up of preseason actually starts is quite important, because by the time the new season kicks in, they'll already be integrated with the team. They'll know the ins and outs. They'll have the perfect chemistry with the players, who they will be playing alongside with, and perhaps it will give us a good momentum to actually start the season with. Because every single year, we, in the first 3 to 4 games, till the time the first international break kicks in, we are nowhere near to the fitness levels. We are nowhere near to actually getting our first choice starting 11 sorted for the first 7 to 8 games. So that it will be a good change of pace at United, having your first 11, having players completely fit, having players on the same page, and getting most of your business done before actually deadline day actually kicks in. Because that you're not desperate then. Even if you go out for certain deals, people know that you're not trying to fill in big gaping holes in your team. So it doesn't put you in a bad position where teams can have leverage over you. Right now, we've got Xerxes in. That's one of our major areas in the attack sorted. We have completely sorted it, in that attacking department. We've got Euro in. That leaves space just for one centre back. Most of your job is already done. Midfield as well, the way it's looking, I think Ugarte might be done within this week itself. The way, Ineos have been accelerating these deals. And the perfect thing has been that they're actually, setting down ultimatums to the player that either choose us by this timeline. If you don't, we are going to be moving away from you and actually looking into alternative options. So they're not wasting time. They're acting quite quick. And I think if this Ugarte deal doesn't work out, the good thing is these guys actually have alternatives to actually turn to,
Yeah.
rather than just fixating on one player, putting in a bid, then acting aloof for like a week, then going it for another bid, 10 or 15 million with added add-ons. But this time it actually looks like we walked away from these. Braithwaite we walked away from. Delict, if it's looking like a bit too pricey, we've walked away from it, gotten Euro in, creates much more pressure on Bayern Munich as well, because this is the first time I've actually seen United taking advantage of the fact that another club is there who actually needs to sell a player. If they're not, getting down to the demands that United actually wants, they're dragging it out. So with Delict, they're doing it, which is quite impressive. But apart from that, looks like that midfield department as well. They've started to prioritize it a lot more. They're looking to get in Ugarte. They might be getting Amrabat or Rabiot, whoever it is. And perhaps, maybe once these are sorted, once we actually get a couple of outgoings as well, maybe McTominay, maybe Lindelof, maybe Sancho. You never know who actually ends up leaving. But I think once the outgoing sector actually starts flowing a bit more freely, maybe we sign in Delict, maybe we sign in Ugarte as well, maybe we sign another left back. So I think right now we're moving at quite a good pace. And I think by the time the main run up of the preseason comes in, most of our players will be in.
Well, let me paint a picture for you then, Sam. Let's say we go into the start of the season. We've got Onana, Bayern Day as your two goalkeepers, okay? You've got Dalot and...
Don't forget Tom Heaton, by the way.
I know, but I mean, like, who's realistically going to play? Well, even Bayern Day is unrealistic.
I was going to say Bayern Day is not playing.
But yeah, I'm going like in terms of like the actual depth. So right backs, you got Dalot and Wan-Bissaka at the moment that may need replacing. We'll get on to that in a minute. Then you have Delict and Euro on the right side.
Mhm.
You have Maguire and Lissandro on your left centre backs.
Yep.
Shaw and Malacio. Ugarte, Casemiro, Kobe, Mount / Ericsson. Not sure. Bruno, Xerxes can play there as well as with Højlund. And then Ahmad,
Sancho.
Antony, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. Is that enough depth for you personally?
Probably not. I think left back is a concern. Like, it's a super concern because we don't know the fitness status of either of the players. Like, we saw Luke Shaw did play in the Euros, but how long is he going to last? Is he going to be out at some point?
He looked good as well, though, didn't he?
He looked good, but again, he does this. He looks good for like a week, and then
you get your hopes up in it.
So I don't know what the state of Luke Shaw is. Last year, we've got no idea how long his timeline is. He's back on grass, but is that weeks? Is that months? Do we know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where he's at. So that worries me. Obviously, if we lose Wan-Bissaka, there's a hole there right back because there's no really young players who can come through and play that right back role at the minute. And then I'd like another midfielder. Like an Amrabat or a Rabiot or something alongside Ugarte. The forward line's pretty good. I think the forward line we've stacked quite well, like Garnacho and Rashford.
So do we not need to touch that? You don't think that's fine?
No, because I've seen people talk about right wingers. I'm like, you'd have to sell a couple first. Like, I don't understand that. Like, you've got Antony, who's probably not leaving. We all want him to, but he's not gonna. Let's face it. You got Sancho, who's question mark. He seems to be reintegrated into the team, but maybe it's a ploy to sell him, maybe not. Who knows? You got Pellistri still at the club. I assume he's gonna leave, but he's still there. You got Ahmad, so like that's 5 right there. So I don't understand where the other right winger thing's coming from. You got 2 strikers now, Xerxes, Højlund, Rashford can also play there. You got Bruno can play in the false 9. You got Bruno, Mount, Casemiro, Ugarte. So midfield and left back situations are the 2 situations where I think we need one of each.
If we get Ugarte.
If we get Ugarte. We need one of each in those areas. I think forward line, we're stacked. I don't think we need any more unless we just absolutely blitz about three right wingers in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I think that's where I'd worry. But forward line, goalkeeper, centre backs, if Delict comes in, I think we're all right there. I think right back might become a problem. Left back is an issue for me and another midfielder.
Still can't believe we got Lenny Euro, by the way. It's just
Mental.
crazy. Absolutely crazy. How quick that deal has moved as well. And now they're already on to like Ugarte. it's a very nice welcoming, but it's also very shocking at the same time. Like, what is going on? Can't keep up with it. It's mad. I bet the media guys at United, who do all the interviews and the photographs, are just like, what's going? I used to just chill during the summer transfer window until the last day, and now it's like busy every fucking day. Crazy. Right, I'm going to go into the comments, you lovely people. What are we all saying? Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, I'm going to drop the link for the members video that we dropped earlier on today about everything you need to know about Lenny Yoro. So if you are a member, hopefully you've already seen it. And if you haven't, then we'll put the link towards the end of the shop.
We're also filming another members video straight after this, which will be ready to go the weekend. So there'll be another video for you.
For the lovely community, the Real Red Ultras, absolute legends. So we said we'd get a couple out there for you, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Dino saying, I think we could get Neves, Ugarte, and Amrabat if we sell Casemiro, McTominay, Ericsson, and Hannibal.
Don't see us getting Neves. Don't see us getting Neves at all.
No, I've that's back of my mind already for a while now. I do love the player. I don't think he's a phenomenal talent. Kira saying Rabiot would be immense for depth. Yeah, there's some conflicting opinions on Rabiot. YJJ saying Rabiot got sourced of a 16-year-old. I'm not having it. I think he's alluding to Lamal. McMillan saying if you can get Rabiot on a 3-year deal for 150k per week bonus incentives, then yeah, but his mum's going to be a tough nut to crack. Yeah,
I believe his mum is not his agent anymore. I think she's not I think she's not represented. I'm sure I read that somewhere in the Athletic.
Who also, when you're 29 years old, whose mum is your agent? Like, well, how can you still have your mum?
She's clearly doing well because look at the clubs she's been to. Look at the wage he's getting. So
PSG, Juventus.
She's doing a job. She's doing a job.
Yeah, fair play. Chivy saying Rabiot will demand a starting role. I think we can do better. There are loads of options. Thoughts on that?
I agree. I think we keep him on the back burner. And we go look at options and we go search like a young DM or like a 24, 25-year-old DM and just see if we can get something like that. Because I think if we get Ugarte in, he's probably going to be a starter. And then you probably need somebody else. But maybe we just bring Ugarte in. If Casemiro's staying, maybe we don't go get another one.
Yeah. Interesting. Charlie Malman saying sounds like Casemiro's not going anywhere, so most of these midfielders looks like not to be. I said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago about Casemiro. I don't see it happening. I see it. He will be our starting 6 when we see. I promise you, he will. He'll be our starting 6, and I'm not sure how I feel about that because even in pre-season, he looked like he had one too many burgers.
He's captain as well, weirdly.
Yeah, I'm not liking that going into the new season, but we'll see what happens. The problem is high wages. We need him removed before we can really get in someone new. Lumen saying, Kira, you are so nice. If that's your chat up line or intro line, Lumen, if Carlsberg did chat up lines, that certainly isn't one.
Do better.
Yeah, you need better than that. You need better than that. Say something that if he was a bogey, I'd pick you first. At least be a little bit, creative. Abiba Deliso says, out to United. That's just loads of players again who he wants. So many comments. I'm trying to read out as many as I can. Simmons is not coming, sadly. Bayern's offered a €90 million bid for the player. Again, Simmons is another one I'm a big fan of, but I didn't really see. Yeah. No. And Kirk, how crossing Casemiro's legs have gone. Thank you. The majority of people. I'd love to know, Chivy, if you're still in the chat, if you believe his legs have gone yet, or if you're still persistent.
It's definitely a system.
Yeah, let us know if you are in the chat in the comments.
Just see the chat.
Right.
Garnacho, Mainu, and Højlund should not be starters. Are you having a laugh? Like our 3 best players from last season, they should start.
Yeah. He's a Liverpool fan. He's a Liverpool fan.
Has to be.
I'm guessing it just has to be.
Yeah.
I was going to mention some people in the chat then about, not in the chat, and I put that Euro video up before and some of the Liverpool fans in the comments, honestly, but we'll be here for days. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Shreyas, to West Ham. West Ham are in advanced talks with United over a move for our right back. United are willing to sell Wan-Bissaka this summer and are looking for a fee of over £15 million. 1, is it the right move? 2, who do you replace him with?
I've honestly got no clue as to who we replace him with because I
don't know. The only one, mate.
Yeah, because I don't see any option. I would say any reliable option being there who we can sign for about 15 to 20 million to actually give even certain a certain type of competition to Dalot. Because at least with Wan-Bissaka being there, I know that he can compete with Dalot when it comes to the defensive skill, his defensive skill set. But apart from that, I don't see any other problem in actually Dallow's game being there. I think moving forward, Dallow is absolutely incredible. He's worked quite well on his defensive side. Um, I just don't know if who we can get in that in that fee who can actually come in and make a difference. I think right now selling Wan-Bissaka isn't really the right call because it just opens up a space for us to actually fill in for another player. I think Dallo and Wan-Bissaka are good partnership to have on that right hand side. They work quite well last year as well, and we don't need to create extra options for us right now when it comes to signing players. We've already got a very bad situation when it comes to our left back situation. No update on Malacia. No reliability on Luke Shaw as well. Till when will he be fit? Till when can he stay fit and actually be able to perform for us? Because once again, Luke Shaw is not just a left back for us. He also chips in at centre back a lot of times and does quite a decent job. So he's very important, but his injury proneness actually creates a big problem for us. So if we end up selling Wan-Bissaka, it does create a problem that you need to sign in another right back. Then perhaps maybe you will have to sign another left back as well once Ugarte and these guys come in. Maybe you need to explore a deal in that area too. So personally, I wouldn't sell him, and I think the only reason we might be selling Wan-Bissaka is just to raise funds, because right now we aren't really in advanced stages when it comes to McTominay or Sancho or any other player. So maybe the only reason we're selling Wan-Bissaka is because there are more clubs interested, and perhaps they're ready to actually offer us about 17 to 20 million for him. But I just think it creates a big problem for us.
Well, does he fall into the same category, Sam, as Casemiro, McTominay, these guys that we need to move on quickly? Or is it a case of, actually, we'll just keep him for another year and we'll adjust the right back situation next season?
I think me and Chevy covered this quite heavily yesterday, so I won't repeat my points too much. But I think it's not a priority position, is it, right back? I think we've got two competent right backs, with different skill sets, and I think you could do a lot worse than selling him, because I think when you've got a winger or a forward who's giving your full back a terrible time, Jeremy Doku comes to mind, St. Maximum in the Carabao Cup final. Darlow was getting torn to pieces in that Carabao Cup final. We brought on Wan-Bissaka and he shut it down. Done with. Same thing the FA Cup final against City. Wan-Bissaka shut Doku down so much that they had to switch wings, put him on the other side because he had a bad of a time against him. So I think when you need to play that sort of teams, or you need to just shut a game down, I think he's extremely useful. So I would keep him personally. The only reason I think we're probably trying to sell him is because he's in the last year of his deal now. This is his final year of his deal. So we lose him for free next season. I don't see him signing a new contract unless it's on higher terms, which why would we offer that for him if he's not going to be the first choice right back? So I think we're trying to get money from him while we can, because we lose him for free next season. But at the same time, you look at the right backs across Europe, there's people I really like and I think would be excellent for us, but they're going to cost a fortune. So I just think, like Malo Gusto, for example, I think he's excellent.
I love him.
Fantastic player. Yeah. How much is he going to cost? 50, 60, 70
I don't think Chelsea would even sell him, to be honest.
I like Tino Livramento from Newcastle, but they ain't going to sell anybody to us in the next 10 years, are they? Because of what we did with Dan Ashworth. So that's out of the thing. So there's players out there I like, but they're not readily available. So I think I would keep him. Maybe if he's got a +1 option, activate it. Address it next summer when you've addressed all these areas. But I understand why they're trying to sell him, because it's the last year of his deal and you lose him for free. So I understand why.
And I think what's key is these youngsters that we're bringing through now is one of the biggest reasons why they do this is so the next couple of windows you can bring in priority targets, because if you bring in a 30-year-old striker in a few years' time, you're going to be like, oh, we need to replace him. Him. We've got Højlund, Garnacho, Ahmad, Mainu, Xerxes, Yoro, like all these young stars. They're going to be Yoro's going to be 23 in 5 years' time. That's the mad thing. So that position's then sustained them for a long period, and you can start focusing on other things rather than chopping and changing your manager every 2 years and changing your transfer policies to try fit that tailor to that manager. It's
You're
just
always playing catch up, aren't you? Like you're always playing catch up. If
Exactly.
you're buying 30 plus
Exactly.
year olds, it's like every 2 years you have to play catch up. Whereas every other
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
Chelsea are building a squad. Like I know they're going mental and they're doing it
Yeah. But
insane.
they're buying young talents as
Buying
well, aren't
young
they,
talent.
at the same time?
Liverpool did the same. City have done the
Madrid.
same. Madrid. They're all buying young talent, developing them,
Yeah.
and then like that's where you need to be now. You can't just be
Yeah.
buying 30 plus players and hope it fixes the leak in the dam because it just doesn't work anymore.
Agreed. Now, moving on to Scott Mctominay, Shreyas, because West Ham are also interested in him. That's from the Times Sports. We've had Sky Sports report as well that Fulham may come in for a second bid. How much is Scott McTominay worth in your mind?
I think 30, 35 million. I think
Okay.
that's the right. I think that's the right region. I don't think that we should be selling him for anything less than 30, considering I think it was last summer that West Ham were again interested in him. They offered about 20, 25 million for him, same as Harry Maguire. Considering what he did for us last season, being one of the top scorers for us, I think his value definitely has increased. I think we can easily get around 30, 35 million for him, and that once again that's pure profit. He's an academy player. Actually helps, puts us in a very good position when it comes to doing certain deals. So, and I do see him as a player who would be sold in this window. I think moving into this season, his game time will actually be quite limited. You've already got Bruno, you've already got Menu, you've already got the likes of Ugarte coming in. That's three midfielders in itself. Then you've also got Collier coming through the ranks, who I think will be used this season. All signs point to it that Collier will be used this season. You might be going in for another midfielder in Amrabat or Rabiot. That's another one. Mount is also already there at the club. So I think that it will be very limited when it comes to his playing time, and this might be the best time for us to actually sell McTominay. You never know if he's going to be having another 10 to 11 goal season this year. It only happened, this past season that he got so many goals. Might just be the best time to actually, take advantage of this situation and actually letting him go. And maybe, it allows us to go in for one extra signing by the time this window actually ends. So if you want to raise funds, I think he's one of the biggest options that you need to look at.
What do you reckon the manager's thinking, Sam? Do you think Ten Hag would want to keep him? Because you always hear about coaches when they speak about McTominay, perfect trainer, works really hard, great attitude. Do you think you would want to keep him around as a squad player?
I'm sure he would, because I think every manager that we've had post Fergie has rated McTominay, haven't they? Like they've absolutely raved about him. Apparently, he, like you said, trains hard, does exactly what you ask him to on the pitch. Apparently, follows instructions to the letter. So I understand why managers like him. I just think he's lacking in quality in so many areas, and we've been through this a million times.
Mm-hmm.
I just think while a manager might like him, I think there's better options out there who could do a more effective job and still have his sort of work rate and his sort of level of commitment to the team. I don't understand why we're so hung up on him and why we're so like willing to give him the benefit of doubt every single year when we've known for about 2-3 years he's not good enough. So it's weird to me. It's really weird to me. And like Shreyas said, he was top scorer for Scotland in international goals, I think, for a while. He was a top scorer for us for a while and was I think he's in our top 3 anyway for the year. And he's effective in that area and that type of, if you want to bring somebody on and get a goal or you want to push him higher up the pitch, he's effective. So I think he'd do well for a team like West Ham. And we could get a decent chunk of change for him, which again profits their sustainability, academy graduate, etc. So I would be pushing this one out the door as hard as possible if I were United, but I can see why managers like him.
Yeah, very interesting. John Ahomany says Wan-Bissaka's perfect for tough away games. I'd rather lose him for free next year. I think we're on the same boat. I'm sure we'll have a decent pot of money to go and invest in a right back that we've been scouting for a bit. It's certainly not a priority. I agree. Excuse me. I see Bruno playing deeper as an 8 this season and Xerxes playing off Højlund in that Bruno role sometimes. For me, I'm not a big fan of Bruno in the 8. I know he can do a job there, and I know he's okay. I think he's a bit erratic for an 8. For me personally, like how he is. He's very creative, but he's not a great dribbler of the ball. He's not really strong at holding the ball, like Mainu's building that now. I'm not a personal fan of him, but I get what you're saying. I could see him potentially playing there. Green Devil saying Greenwood gone, officially signed for Marseille. Yep, just seen that news breaking there. I mean, I'm sure I speak for the lads as well. Just can't be asked covering that anymore. Just spoken about it so much.
Good
but yeah,
riddance.
Good riddance. Agreed. We are going to leave it there because, like we said, we want to go and film a members video for you guys. And whilst we're talking about members videos, I'm going to put the link in the chat. This is the one that we dropped at 12 o'clock today, around 12:30, I believe. A detailed, in-depth look at our new signing, our new French centre-back, generational talent, Lenny Yoro. So if you are a member, make sure you check that video out. If you're not, and you want to become a Real Red Ultra, click the join button next to the notification bell, or click the link in the description. Also, I've got a question just to ask to the chat as well. If we did a show, just because you're there and you're sat and watching right now, if we did a show, just out of curiosity, where we get you guys to send in your opinions in like a voice note or something like that, some controversial opinions or whatever, and you sent them into the email or you sent them into Instagram or whatever, and we was to play them on the show, is that something you guys would be interested in? Would you send your messages in? Would you like that kind of stuff? Because we're not changing the content, but we just want to kind of cover all bases in that sense. I don't know if I've kind of blurred there, but yeah.
We're obviously going to screen them beforehand, by the way. So if you're going to send absolute shite, it's not going to get on.
Sam's a knobhead, Nick's a dickhead. I ate straight there. Obviously, we're not going to play that out.
Yeah. So yeah, we want genuine opinions. We don't just want people to send in absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Why do people believe United can't spend? We have 150 mil plus each season before a partial takeover. Yeah, that thing that was being breached. Remember, lads, the 40 million. Fucking. Oh God, yeah. We've only got 40 million. All right, we've already spent way past that already. Spent about 100 million, I think, plus sales. So yeah, so we can't ask about Miss Piggy. You can ask about Miss Piggy if you want. Do what you want, Richard. But yeah, they're the kind of stuff that we're doing interactive. So keep an eye out for that stuff coming. Keep an eye out for the members videos. The one for the link, the one from R12 today's in the chat, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah. Cheers to Sam. Cheers to Shreyas. See you shortly.
Peace.